And we're back. Welcome back
All
to
right.
the Sean and Kevin super awesome spectacular podcast called the
Yep.
Starbound podcast.
hmm
I am your awesome, very attractive young stunner host, King Kejo. I got my boy on call right now. What's good with it?
Cough drippy. That is I.
That is him. He's back in the building.
And we have a.
We did. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this is take two for this format. As you can see, it's not the usual Zoom
I
format
was
that we
literally
usually
going
do.
to say, yeah, this is our second attempt. We tried to do this the other day and we failed, but right now it feels pretty good. It's pretty stable. We checked sound and the sets and all that, so it should be good. This is different, you know what I mean? This is like the halfway point between Zoom and our regular episodes.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. We thought it'd be kind of more fun with like the sort of live sets. The editing is gonna be a little different, but and take one, it was an interesting episode. It's like the lost episode. You know what I'm saying?
Is the episode that doesn't exist. So sorry guys. That what it was is no longer what it is now. So but yeah, we got two live streams at the same time now. Usually it's just like either the one and like we're zooming or the one and we're literally in the same room together just doing one. But now we got two different streams happening simultaneously and hopefully in the edit it'll all kind of look correct.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, like where do we even begin? We did the other recording of this yesterday, so it's a day later.
yeah, I was
now.
like, do I do my topics that I did the other day, or do I just freestyle and we do something else today?
I
I
think
don't
we
know. I'm on a
freestyle and
different
do
vibe
something.
now.
Yeah, we're on a different vibe. The long lost episode, unfortunately, it's not out. Maybe one day it'd be out, but it would kind of be difficult to watch considering that it is
It'd
not
be
really.
extremely difficult to watch. That episode doesn't. It's not an episode. Quit calling it an episode. It's not an episode. It's not complete.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not really anything. It's just like a draft.
There's very few
draft.
episodes that we like haven't aired. I think there's only like one other one, right? Or is there two?
Yeah. So there is one that we haven't aired where it was just myself, and
I was out of commission
that's
that day.
lost.
Let's just say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
were
was
out.
of commission.
You were out that day. Boy was busy.
Yeah.
But there is one episode that was out there that's kind of like I have it. It's just tucked away in like a heap of other projects now.
Wait.
And
The solo episode or a different one?
The solo episode that I did. It exists. It's completed too. It's like it's a full episode. It's just it's tucked away somewhere. So
how long was it?
It's hidden. It was a good 45-minute episode. I think maybe 44 minutes. Covered a wide range of topics. I don't remember. That was like way back in like maybe September, October. So
it was.
I don't know, just a different time now. I can't even tell you what the topics were.
I actually think that was the original. I think that was the original 1 week that we missed. I think it was like the one that was in between episodes 7 and 8. I think. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that was the week that we missed, which is fine because we got back to it like the following week, and so we were just like, we'll treat it as is. So,
and now we're on more of a bi-weekly schedule.
I don't feel like it's bi-weekly. It was a little erratic the past month.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're kind of relatively back on our one per week schedule here.
Oh yeah, I guess now we're kind of getting back into it. It was about a week ago that we did the last one.
Yeah. So we're on our week to week schedule now. It's just before like the last 2 weeks, it was pretty you never know when you're gonna get an episode, you know what I mean?
A lot has been going on. A lot of traveling, a lot of this, a lot of that, But that's neither hither nor thither. By the way, I was reading a book the other day where they actually used the term thither.
Can you say that one more time?
I was reading a book the other day where they actually used the term thither.
It sounds like you're trying to speak English, but You said thither, right?
Yeah, you know how you always say
There's no way
that's
that's a word.
you know how you always say that's neither hither nor thither?
No, I don't know. It's here nor there.
Wait. I thought you always said that. Am I not thinking about you? I swear you always say that.
Oh, like some bullshit I would come up with?
Yeah.
That's neither hither nor thither.
Yeah.
It's neither hither nor it's not here nor there.
Anyway, apparently
I it
thither is
sounds
an
like something I
actual
would say,
yeah.
but
Some author, I don't remember which book it was, but like it's maybe it was Shakespeare or something. Like it said thither, and I was like, "Whoa, thither is actually a word. Like you can actually say like hither nor
what does that
thither."
mean? What
I
is
guess
thither?
it
Is
means
that like
neither
there?
here nor there. I don't know. Honestly, someone
Was it
if you
used
know,
in that context?
I don't remember. I can't remember. But like
Oh.
I just thought it was interesting. Yeah. But if you know, please put it in the comments down below.
The English language is so weird and such BS, bro. Like you wish sometimes I wish that it was a bit more structured. You know what I mean? Like the fundamental laws about it. Because I feel like with Chinese, and this is I only know such a basic level of Chinese, but
Yeah.
I feel like Chinese is a lot more structured where it's to the point, it's simple, and there's no like befuddly duddly like rules. Like English is a type of language where it's like, oh, it's always I before E, except for like these 70 other times where that doesn't apply. And it's
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about this yesterday on the Long Forgotten
We were
podcast
talking about language.
about how Harry, who is in the University Times Starbound episode, which I think is like episode like 30 something, was a Spanish and
Word.
linguistics major in college, and now he's in Mexico City right now, getting fully immersed. And so we'd have a lot of conversations about like language and sort of like the differences between languages, and we got into a little bit about how like slang has like a sort of negative connotation in like um like scholarly writing or something like that, but that
Elitists, I'm about to pick a fight with them actually. The educated elitists like to say that slang is a clear sign of uh uh
miseducation or no
delinquency.
education of less education or of being
You're an
uneducated.
idiot is what they're trying to say.
Right,
Like,
but a lot of the times what Harry and I talked about and what Harry I guess learned in classes, but still don't quote me. I mean, this is me saying what I remember Harry saying. Don't quote
word.
Harry or me on this. Actually, you can quote me, I guess, on the record. On
On
the
the record.
record, no, I'm just playing. But we would talk a lot about how, uh, yeah, slang is just like words that based on culture wherever you are, it makes it easier to speak. So a
Mhm.
lot of the time slang words go into the dictionary eventually because they're useful words. So
Mm.
like for example, one could say that like selfie is a internet slang word, and there was a whole thing about how that got put in the dictionary. People thought that was stupid, but like what a selfie is, so it's like a word that's useful.
And it's also like, look, if you're a hater of putting selfie in the dictionary, please recognize that every other word in the dictionary is made up. People made it up and then they put it in the book.
Yeah.
Like that's how do you think language became what it was today? You think everyone had like a set list of words and was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is final. There's nothing more or less you can use in this. Like, no, okay. Language changes over time. It grows, it adapts as society also grows and adapts.
Yeah.
You don't be mad at the selfie for being in the dictionary, bro. Like, how do you think any other word you use got there?
That's why it's so interesting to me about how like English papers are graded, right? Because like obviously to a certain degree they have to have like something to grade off of, right? So it's mainly like, okay, we're going to
Mhm.
teach you this and you got to grade it like this. But then it becomes difficult because it's like what if they're grading you on like using a word that's not like in the dictionary, but it's still like a word that's like used on a daily basis? It doesn't usually actually end up being a problem, I don't think, because like English teachers can usually like figure out the nuance there, but there definitely is a
Mm.
nuance there. You know what I'm saying?
I used to be in an English program. I took a couple English classes, and I had a great professor who this isn't related to words, but it's related to grammar. I love using the semicolon in my writing. I
It's
just feel like
fun.
it's like if you can pull off the semicolon, it looks so cool. You know what
It's
I mean?
bars. Yeah.
It's bars, you know what I mean? So typically semicolons are used similarly to a period, except it connects two sentences together. That's like the loose in general way to use it.
Like your thought is
And
not
that's
quite done.
yeah, like the thought isn't quite done, but it is a different grammatical sentence. So you just kind of connect it together. It's kind of like an in between of a comma and a period, actually, the
Oh, I
semicolon.
wonder why. It looks exactly like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I think that's the in general usage of it for most of its time in existence. But then my teacher was saying that there's this new way of using it where if you're listing uh if you're listing like entire phrases and because it's not just like a one item thing, you need to use a whole like sentence. Instead of putting a comma to break up the list, you can put a semicolon to break up the list.
Wait.
So
Like a bunch of semicolons though? Are you talking about when you list like a bunch of things in a comma form like
right. So for example, usually when you list like let's say I have a list of groceries, right? I'll be like in my list colon uh carrots, comma, cabbage, comma, whatever, etc. Right?
sure, sure.
But sometimes you want to list entire phrases and not just singular items. Or like there's a sentence with a comma in it, but it's not to show that there's a new item. It's just part of the sentence.
Almost like a
So
quote.
yeah, it's almost like you're doing like you're almost as if you're listing multiple quotes or something like that, right? And in that case, instead of using a comma to break up each item, you use a semicolon, which my teacher was telling me that's kind of a more newer thing that's been happening. So
Huh.
he'll technically count that. He was telling me about using it like
Oh,
that way, and he said that he would count it, but not every professor would be okay with that.
I guess because it's like a
And
period, right? Like it's like a period because it's like a sentence that you're putting, like you're listing. So like it makes sense to have like a period at the end of the sentence, but then like you need a comma to
yeah, when you want to
continue
go
the.
into like language theory, that's kind of what this is. This is language theory. Uh, the idea is that the semicolon is supposed to be a balance between the period and the comma, right? A comma kind of breaks up a sentence, a period ends the sentence. So when you have situations where you have things that don't necessarily uh, are breakups of a sentence, it's a full thought, but it's not a complete thought. Right? That gray area is where the semicolon's supposed to come in.
Yeah.
So I don't know who was the first person to use it in list form, but I just think it's really interesting how um even the way we write, what we consider as grammatically correct changes.
Right. And
Right.
also
So
like how does like that sort of thing that professor accepts start to become standardized? Is there like a English like teachers like group chat like
and that's my
internationally?
beef with that's my beef with arts and literature in school. It's so incredibly difficult to grade because it's really a matter of perspective and opinion. There's not a lot of objectivity when it comes to stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, how do you grade something that's always developing?
I th-
It's a rule today and it's not the rule tomorrow.
I think the way to do it, which is the way it's done, is semi difficult, but it's like just like broad organization almost, right? So it's like, okay, what is going to be a standardized like way that like if you learn one how to read one type of paper, you can now learn how to read every type of paper. So like that's why like a lot of the times, like history papers will be written in like Chicago, I think, and they have like a lot of like
Mhm.
footnotes at the end. So or at the bottom of the page. So like if you're interested in like where that quote came from for like, like scholarly accurate reasons, like you want to make sure that the quote is like from a good source, then you can like
Mhm.
jump to the bottom of the page. But like if you're talking about like something like MLA where you're writing something else, maybe you'll be even writing like or if you're just writing like a narrative, like a book or something, you don't
Yeah.
need to put quotes at the bottom of the page. So it makes sense, I guess, that there's like a standardized way so that like once you read one, you can read another. It's almost like
It
language in
depends on the
general.
purpose. It
But
depends
like
on the purpose.
I
Because
agree though.
if you're doing a narrative, right, that has a very different purpose than creating a dissertation on scientific engineering material, and you need to use a particular language that every engineer can understand. Like the purpose
Right.
is different. So
Right. And
maybe
it's
that goes
difficult
into it a little
to
bit.
decide like who has the rights to decide what gets accepted into the stand. Like it shouldn't be like the you know what I'm saying? Like
Usually the rich elites get to decide everything, but that's neither here nor there.
yeah,
That's neither hither nor dither,
but it's made
or
up, right? But all
thither.
like language is made up by everybody. So like I feel like more like slang should be accepted into the grading of papers and stuff, for example.
I agree. I feel like if anything, the only thing you should judge is the clarity of the thought. Because I will say that I think what academic language is really good at is being able to express really complex ideas or thoughts that need kind of a breakdown of what do you mean by this,
Hmm.
right? Some slang is just not going to cover uh, this level of thought. Uh, so I can understand why that could kind of come into play in academia. That being said, that doesn't mean that certain slang words can't be used in academics.
Yeah.
I feel like some slang can get certain points across better than even the academic writing. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I talk about this a lot, but like one of my teachers in middle school, like handed me back one of my papers and gave me like a bunch of points off because my A's didn't look like A's. And I was like, what is this? The reason my A's didn't look like A's,
shitty
which first
handwriting.
of all, like, I guess that's fair because like, but at the same time, I'm like, you knew they were A's. You know what I'm saying? Like, but here's the thing. Like, I feel like she should have corrected it, but like not like giving me points off, because like I knew the content. Her class wasn't like a.
What class was this?
I don't want to expose the teachers, so I'm not going to go into details. But like
Mm.
basically, the reason the A's were weird is because I'm left-handed, right? So like I would draw the circle of the A, right?
Left-handed blokes, bruh.
Yeah, I would draw the circle of the A, and then I still had to put like the stem on the other side, right?
Hmm.
So I'll draw the circle, and then I'd cut through the middle to put the stem on. Like I would just like draw through the middle to put the stem on. So it looked more
Uh,
like a circle with a line in it that led to the stem on the A, if that makes sense.
I see. No, that
And
does make sense.
so after that, I was more careful about that because like it did get pretty sloppy back in middle school. You know what I'm saying? But then in high school and college, like you're mostly typing anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you do have to have clear. If you write in chicken scratch, it's kind of a waste of everybody's time because the point is that someone should be able to read this. Um, they don't have to be that harsh on it. And also, yeah, now in modern times, people just type everything. I was so embarrassed to go to like my classes and the teacher would be like, "Oh, who brought their computer?" And literally everyone has a laptop. And then like he'll be like, "Who didn't?" And just my little ass hand like raises like I got a desktop. I don't know what to tell you.
You bring your desktop
I
to
get so
class.
embarrassed. I might have to, bro, because I'm tired of being embarrassed like this. How is every kid? I don't know if there's like a list of like items you're supposed to get for school, and on the list at the top of it is a laptop. But like I'm like super old fashioned. I just bring a paper and a pencil and I get to it. You know what I mean? So
I think
yeah,
like
it's
when I went
embarrassing.
to college, I remember for my program, there was something on the website like you need to get like a MacBook for this program. And I'm like, that's so weird. Like you can't get like a Windows laptop. Like, why do you got to get like a Mac? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, but I
That's
remember it.
because Apple has a it's a because it was a creative program, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Apple has a monopoly on creatives. So it is what it is. If you go to on any of these like big fancy creative houses, computer warehouse and stuff like that. It's all just Macs, Apple stuff, Apple this, like yeah.
It's just like
So
a financial barrier too that like should probably be more accommodating and included in financial aid, because it's like ridiculous that you can't join the programs if you can't afford a laptop or something. Like some people literally
Yeah.
just wouldn't be able to get a laptop, or they'd have a perfectly fine computer at home, like a desktop or MacBook thing, or sorry, not MacBook, Mac thing, and then you can't bring it to class. And like teachers would be expecting you to have a laptop in class. Ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It'd be so weird because I was the only person that raised my hand, and so everybody knows I'm the kid that doesn't have a laptop. Like something will come up, and the teacher would be like, "All right, everyone go on your laptop and do something." And the kid next to me is always like, "Oh yeah, here you can look over my shoulder and look at mine." And it's like,
Oh, nice.
I appreciate like I don't know how it, like I appreciate the thought that they were being considerate of me, but I also feel like you're patronizing me by like, oh yeah, this kid doesn't have a laptop. Let me go ahead and offer it up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive like that. Like I feel a type of way when people like just assume that I need something.
Yeah, I understand. Sorry, I got distracted by Jay trying to eat my pizza. No hate.
Ja was saying some wild stuff last night, bro.
Oh yeah, so Jay and his friend Oliver had a guest appearance on Starbound yesterday, which is why it's sad that we had to re-record the episode. But you know what happens. Yeah.
I was texting him the other night and after the episode, and I was like, "Yo, like, why is everyone?" Because there was a rumor that Drake was dropping his new album called "For All the Dogs" that night.
Jay told me about this because
he told you about this. Okay, so the abbreviation of "For All the Dogs" is Fat D, and so I was like, "Yo, I gotta switch out of like this fan base," because whenever I see like comment sections of a bunch of Drake fans, everyone's just like, "Oh my god, I can't wait for Drake's Fat D to drop tonight." And it's like yo, hey yo, like
dude, that's why he did it. That's why he did it. You know what I'm saying?
I think it might be. I think it's intentional for like the internet jokes, but I can't stand it, bro. Like this is my last straw. Where like I can't. I'm not with all these games, bro. It's so weird. And I was like, bro, oh my god,
what do you
Fat
mean?
D all in my ears. I'm like, yo, what the like? What are people talking about?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So For All the Dogs did not drop last night. Some people are disappointed.
Wait, when's it supposed
to
drop?
There's just a lot of rumors, like Amazon and a bunch of people were tweeting that it was going to be last night, and it wasn't.
Oh snap!
So my guess is that he's going to drop an album like it's probably within a month or something like that, because he's still on tour. So I'm going to guess that he's going to end the tour, and right at the end of the tour, he drops the album, and then we'll have it then. But yeah, I can't stand the jokes, bro. All this Fat D talk is crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah. Yep. I'm pretty excited for the new Olivia Rodrigo album, which drops September 8th. Yep.
Word. She hasn't really, because her last project was Sour, right?
Yeah. It's like her second like album, so it's pretty anticipated. And like she dropped 2 singles for it, Vampire and Bad Idea Right, and they're both pretty good. I think Vampire is better, but I mean better is like subjective. You know what I'm saying? Bad Idea Right's pretty good too. But I'm excited.
Are they both going to be on the album, or are they just singles?
They're both going to be on the album. Yeah. And like my sister and I ordered the vinyl because we got like DJ set up here to like play the records and
already
stuff. Oh well, we pre-ordered it so that we could like.
You wasted no time, bro. Don't you want to hear the music before you like pre-order?
I just sometimes, yeah, like usually, but for this one, like it was, sometimes kind of fun. You're like, all right, you're like excited for an album or something. Like for example, like you're really excited about Drake's Fat D, so you put in your, your pre-order for that.
I'm not with it. I don't know why you put my name in his mouth like that.
Wouldn't you personally pay for Drake's Fat D ahead of time?
I'm not participating in this conversation, bro. I know nothing about no waiting for no fat D from Drake. Okay, that's relax with all that.
All right, all right, all right.
But would I pre-order Drake's music? No, I don't think I would, and it's because I've been having like a feeling recently just about like the concept of pre-ordering something. So you are putting money down on a product that you don't even know if it's quality. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean,
and this is I'm getting this feeling from because not every market has had this issue, but video games in particular, it used to be if you're interested in a video game, you could pre-order it and you could trust that it would be good. But there's been a slew of video games where they're just garbage. They're
yeah,
terrible. I remember pre-ordering a video game. It was called Mafia 3. I thought it was gonna be so cool because I'm hype off of Mafia 2. Pre-ordered it, so I already put money down, and it was garbage.
yeah,
So
I agree,
like,
and I'm much more inclined to pre-order if it's a sequel. So like, for example, Mortal Kombat, those games, they're usually pretty fun. They're fighting games back and forth. Then they dropped Injustice 1, which is like the DC characters, Batman, Superman, all that stuff, fighting against each other, made the same way as Mortal Kombat is made. We got the first
yeah.
game way back when. I think Jay got it for one of his birthdays or something. And then we played it and we're like, this is awesome, right? Then we heard about Injustice 2, and like my family like pre-ordered it for me for my birthday, and I was like so hyped because I'm like, I know it's going to be a banger, and like I got a bunch of bonus stuff because it was like, pre-ordered or whatever. That's the cool thing about pre-ordering games. And for the vinyl, it's a little bit similar because it's a sequel album, right? It's not like I ordered her first album like not knowing what it sounded like.
Nah,
So
this is a sophomore year album.
sophomore album, and I already heard at the time of pre-order, Bad Idea Right hadn't come out yet, but I'd already heard Vampire, and it was like a certified banger. So I was like, all right, this album's going to be good. And then that makes it a little bit more fun to pre-order and stuff like that.
I see. I don't think
it is kind of like a bet, though.
Especially,
it is kind of like betting on.
It's betting. It's betting that there's going to be quality because you trust either the artist or the brand.
Yeah.
But there have been times where either the first song is fire or the big hit single is fire, and then the entire album is something completely different, and you're just like, this is not. You feel lied to. Like, I don't want to get into that game, bro. Like, I like to let something sit for a little bit. If it's fire, then I'll get everything under the sun for it. But since like, especially it's video games really that got me turned off from any concept of pre-orders. Like,
I get it.
Because I remember pre-ordering. I think I pre-ordered the Avengers, the video game.
Oh, dude, that game. We played it together on the. No, we played the beta. You still got it though, even though we played the beta for free together.
We played the beta, and I thought the beta was actually pretty solid. It's just like,
no, we were roasting it before it came out. What are you talking about? You thought the beta was solid?
Personally, I thought from the beta, like the beta's okay. It's not a lot of content, but like the full game is gonna have more stuff to do, right? No.
Yeah, I understand. Like, you think they're gonna fix bugs and stuff like that, and a lot of the times they don't
fix bugs, add stuff, because the prologue mission in the beta was actually fantastic. I thought it was awesome, and then some of the rest of after the beta wasn't that fun. But like, it's just it just felt like I was lied to because parts of the game I actually really, really enjoyed and was excited for, and I was hyped. And when I got the game, the first hour was actually so fun, but then every other hour was just like, it was terrible, man. This is not a video game podcast, but man, I'm burned from pre-orders.
I remember back in the day we played Destiny, the Destiny beta, and it was like awesome. And then we got the game, and it was still like good, but it didn't really add anything, and it was like very repetitive. I hear Destiny 2 is way better though.
Oh, that's good. I remember me back in, I think that was high school, right? Like, we had a little squad, and the Destiny beta was so much fun. We were playing the beta all the time, and we thought it was just a taste of what's to come. But no, that was everything. That was the whole game right there.
It was
Yeah.
just more of that. It was repetitive. It was fun to explore though, and I have heard good things about the second one. So maybe someday we'll see. But a lot of the times, when there's when games kind of aren't being talked about as much, like the online servers have less people in them, it's more barren. It's like less exciting to play it. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know what? Yeah, while we're on the game topic, there was a game I wanted to go back to. It's called well, my little setup is falling apart here. Hold on.
You got it.
But there was this game that I used to play a lot. It's called
Mhm.
Star Wars Battlefront. EA's Star Wars
Oh yeah, yeah.
Battlefront.
That's another good example.
Um that game, okay, first of all, I think it started off a little rough, but then I had all the DLC stuff. And this game, I played it all the time. I'm usually really terrible at shooter games. This game I was perfect in, bro. I was like so good at this game. And then time goes by, people are playing it less, but I wanted to go back to playing the game. Here's the thing, the game doesn't have a single player. So, and because there's like barely anyone going back to these servers because they're just playing the second one now, it's barren. I can't even access a lot of my DLC because there's not enough people playing it. So I almost feel like I bought the game for a time, but I can't. I have no way of going back to having that fun again.
It feels frustrating. And like one of the examples for me is that Arkham Origins, which is the one Batman Arkham game, there's three, right? Usually, but there was a fourth that was made in between Arkham City while they were developing Arkham Knight. While Rocksteady, the company that makes it, was developing Arkham Knight, they let Warner
Yeah,
Bros. Montreal develop this prequel game called Arkham Origins, which was fun. Like they did a really good job mimicking Arkham City and stuff, but they didn't really bring that much new to the table. So it kind of felt
yeah.
repetitive. But if it was like your first time playing an Arkham game, it would still be super fun. Like
I think it was a super solid game.
it was like the story was good. It just like they didn't innovate. Like, it felt like another Arkham
Yeah, that's the
City.
thing. Like the Arkham games are some of the best games ever made. And I feel like each one of them had something really special about it. And when you compare the main trilogy with Arkham Origins, Origins just kind of feels like it's there, but
Yeah.
it's not on the scale of what these three other games are.
That being said, the one thing that Arkham Origins has that none of the other games had was an online. And like the online allowed you, it kind of reminds me of Battlefront because it had like that sort of like third person perspective too, or whatever. Like, and you could play like as like Joker goons versus like, I think it was like Two-Face goons or something. And like usually you'd be one of those characters and you could like change your gear. And I thought it was actually pretty fun to play as those characters too. And then like every once in a while, kind of like in Battlefront, you can become like Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, all that stuff, Yoda.
Yeah.
Like that's the fun part when you kind of get randomly selected as one of those characters and you get to play as them. You get to be Batman and Robin. Like, and so there's like two players in every other match. You get to become Batman and Robin. And you get to jump around the gargoyles and like take down like the Two-Face and Joker goons, and you have your own objective, and like they try to stop you at the same time, like shoot you off the gargoyles. It was
Yeah, like I feel
awesome.
like there was a funny thing about when the Arkham games were coming out, it was like, how do these thugs never look up at the gargoyles? Like obviously Batman is hiding there because that's what you do in the game. But then when you actually play as a thug, you realize, yeah, I don't really look up that much. Like I'm just like, because there's other guys to worry about. So like you're only focusing forward. And it was a wild feeling when like, oh no, you look up and it's the goddamn Batman, and then you get your ass beat. Like
It was still
I get
possible
it
though.
now.
It was still possible to shoot him down. Like sometimes when I was playing as Batman or Robin, I'd be like, "Oh snap, he found me," and then I'd be like jumping from gargoyle to gargoyle frantically. Yeah, but that being
Yeah, but I
said,
still
like
feel like
that online,
it wasn't as simple as you'd think, where it's just like, oh, thugs should just look up all the time. Like I genuinely would forget to
I
look
agree.
up because I have my own objective, and then Batman would come in and do his thing all over me.
I
Pause.
agree. It was well balanced. It was fun. The thing is, I think the servers shut down because like people stopped playing it because it was on PS3. It's like old and all that stuff. I think
And I
I'm pretty
get
sure it got
that, but
shut down.
now
Yeah.
it's like that's content that's gone.
That was my favorite part of
Just
Arkham Origins
gone.
too. That's what they brought to the table, and that's like it happens, man. Another one that I thought was closed down, but recently learned is not, is the Assassin's Creed. I think it was Unity that had an Assassin's Creed multiplayer
We played
where
that a
we
lot.
played it. Yeah, I heard the servers are actually still up, and you could go and like do like heists, like stealing like famous paintings and stuff together. And you
Mhm.
could like customize your assassin's outfit. You could have like different colors, like orange and blue, and you're like a squad. You
Mhm.
get like a squad of 4. Yeah, I thought that closed down too, but recently learned otherwise. So I'm kind of trying to like find that game and like replay it because I'm
Get
like,
back on it. That's the thing. Like, at least these games that we mentioned have single player elements where, uh, if the multiplayer shuts down, you still have something that you can go back to. Games that are entirely multiplayer, like I don't, unless it's like a legendary game series or something that like the servers will always be open. I don't like the idea that all you have to offer me is something that in 3 or 4 years I might not be able to go back to.
yeah, it's like I paid
You
$60
know,
for this, and you're taking it away. It kind of feels like a ripoff. Like, can I get my money back for the game?
yeah, can I get my money back, bro? Am I really only paying for like this interim period with this game? And maybe this is kind of like the era that we're in now, where everything is subscription based. Have you heard that phrase where it's like you only own it partially for X amount of time? And I don't know. I liked the era where we used to own things, but it's all right. Maybe that's just the way it is now.
I'd much rather pay like a little bit more for a software to keep it than like paying like $20 a month for a software. It's so annoying. It's so frustrating.
It is. It is really, really annoying. Um, Speaking of annoying things, I want to get back to the strike because we are now past 100 days of the writer's strike.
Has it already been 100 days? Wow.
It has been more than 100. So what, like 100 days, is like 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 3 months. It might go to a year. Things are still kind of bad. A lot of writers aren't working right now. They got to find jobs and other things. Actors as well because they're also on strike. And even beyond just actors and writers, there are people whose jobs are connected to uh, the industry, like rental houses. Um, there's other businesses where like they have sets where if the money's not really coming in, they have to lay people off. So it really does affect everybody in the industry. That being said, I think we haven't really talked about it on the podcast before, but I think this will be an interesting little tidbit to know. So currently, all studios uh, cannot hire union writers or actors because they're on strike,
Mhm.
except for one studio. There might be a few other small ones, but this one is for sure. A24 actually can still work with union actors and writers
Why?
because so everything the actors and the writers asked for, A24 agreed with. They're like, all right, yeah, sure, you'll have it.
Oh, so they're just
So
paying them good and stuff like that?
yeah,
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we had a temporary urgent pause, but now we're back in business. We were talking about A24.
yeah. So we're talking about A24 and the fact that they can actually still work with writers and actors because they did agree to the negotiations of the unions. So I know the big topic in media is like, oh, the studios versus the writers and the actors. The studios aren't willing to pay. They're not blah blah blah, and that is all still very true. But I do think we should mention that there are studios, right, such as A24, that understand the necessities of the workers and decided, yeah, we'll agree to your terms. What do you
Yeah.
need? All right, let's keep business going. So let A24 be a shining example to the really, really big studios that I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I hope A24 has the most profitable, most just the best year ever because they actually are paying people.
Yeah, I think they will. Like I said, I mean, if it's going to be only A24 movies in theaters, then we're going to get a lot. People they're going to make all the money, and then other companies are going to have
All
to
the
adapt.
money, probably the awards. Yeah, let it be an example. But now that we've gone 100 days without or while being in this strike, I don't know when it's gonna end. I think it's like really it's serious. Like the studios are really saying, look, we are going to wait until you're poor. We'd rather do that than to give you a dime.
Yeah,
So it's bad. It is bad. And I hope that the union holds out, because what the studios could do, don't give them any ideas. But the studios could just be like, all right, we'll hire non-union actors, we'll hire non-union writers. Um and believe me, there are millions of people who will gladly be in the next big whatever movie, despite the union being like
yeah,
no. And that could really hurt.
yeah,
That could really hurt,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. So the industry is shut down. It's been 100 days. It's working on it. Hopefully, I mean, the actors and writers are working on it on strike. Does that affect? We already talked about this a little bit in a past episode, but like, does that affect you on a daily basis? Like, do you really notice the streets getting more barren, or like there are less cars? Like, what's it look like?
What does it look like outside in Los Angeles? I used to see a lot of picket lines around the studios. They look a little less. I don't really see them marching around as much recently. We still have movies actually rolling out. Like TMNT just
Yes,
dropped.
which you have not
So
seen still.
I have not seen yet. I will be seeing it this Sunday
Yeah,
though. I am a big
I've seen it
TMNT
twice.
fan.
It
It's
was
just
epic.
I'm
So
afraid.
Sean's behind, but I still haven't seen Barbie and Oppenheimer. I got to see it. I guess I'm gonna wait for streaming. Nobody, I
You
already
haven't
said
seen
nobody wanted
Boppenheimer?
to do the challenge with me. There was some people wanted to do Barbie, some people want to do Oppenheimer, but nobody wanted to do Barbenheimer with me on one day.
It's a lot of content. I'm not gonna lie, but I do feel like ironically, they do what's the word, complement each other pretty
Yeah.
well. Pretty well. I feel like these are two different perspectives. Also, it's I don't know if you believe in masculine and feminine energy, but Oppenheimer is very masculine. Barbie is very feminine. And I think they really, I don't know, having both of them around the same time, it really does complement each other. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think the purpose of the challenge was that the two movies were, supposedly very different from each other, and so that was the point. Is that you go see one, you go see the other, you're just like, whoa. People mostly said start with
And they're
Oppenheimer,
both
so you could end with
excellent
Barbie. Yeah,
films.
most people said you could start with Oppenheimer, end with Barbie because Barbie's more uplifting or something. But that Barbie was also, I
I
heard
would do
Barbie was
that.
way better than Oppenheimer. I mean, that's what I heard.
Way, are you
Maybe
trying to
not,
be
maybe not
controversial
way,
or
but
something?
most people I talked to said that Barbie was better than Oppenheimer.
I'm
But
one of those people that
we've
said
already
that
talked
Barbie
about
is better.
Barbenheimer.
It's only slightly better though. They're both so it's like the difference between a 98 and a
Yeah.
99. Like, you know what I mean? Like these are both very excellent films, but I'm going to lean towards Barbie just because I feel like Oppenheimer and Chris Nolan, like it might just be the marketing, but you know what to expect when you walk
Yeah.
in there. You know what I mean? You know what kind of movie you signed up for. There's not going to be any crazy surprises. Barbie shocked me. Barbie was just like, I don't think anyone knew what this movie was. And then you watch the movie and you're like, whoa, this could be anything. So yeah, no, I'm excited for you, bro. Watch them both. You'll love both of them. Given Oppenheimer's long, don't get it twisted. That movie is a journey. It's long, but the two will complement each other quite well. I think it's like 5-6 hours right there, right? That's like a whole
Yeah,
day.
it's a mission, but eventually. Yeah. Yeah. Um
Some missions are worth the
so
sacrifice.
yeah, so what have we covered so far? Um we've covered video games. We've covered
We
Oh,
covered
we
video
covered
games,
pre-orders.
pre-orders,
Yeah. Um,
a little bit of the strike update with
yeah.
A24 that did agree to the negotiations, which is really
Yeah.
cool.
Is there anything else that's new? What have we not covered yet that we've been?
I was just saying, like, how's your week been? I mean,
Yeah.
I
Dude,
don't
this
know.
week has been good. It's been very exhausting. Um,
Word.
yeah, emails, a lot of emails. Those weeks.
That's adulting, bro.
I know, I
That's
know.
adulting. I don't like when I was a kid, I would never check my email. I didn't give a shit about no email, bro. You can find me checking that. As an adult, oh my god, that's pretty much it's like Instagram emails. Like just back and forth,
I'm
bro.
getting better at the skateboarding tricks. Practice makes perfect. You know.
Word. Where I did see that video of you doing an ollie. That
Oh,
was pretty
thank you. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. That one was fun. Yeah. So I'm trying to get a moving one down, and I've been able to get a few moving ones down. So that's been fun.
Mm.
What else? I mean, a few other things, a few other side projects that I'm gonna keep low key for now because they're top secret. Um,
Okay, we love our side
yeah,
projects.
yeah, but a lot of good stuff done. A lot of good stuff done. It's been a very productive week, but a very exhausting week at the same time.
Dude, I know exactly how
How
you
about you? How
feel.
was your week?
This week has been just me being thrusted back into school at the last possible second. No preparation, no nothing, just jumping right in. And while doing school, I still have other things I have to take care of, along with other projects. And it felt really good. It felt like I accomplished something just because I mean, I haven't really shared the whole story on the podcast yet, so I'll share it at a later time. But I had to fight really hard just to go to class. I had to fight super hard. Just anything you could throw at me, the
Yeah,
government, right? Like whatever juggernaut was thrown at me was thrown at me. Um, and after a lot of moments of feeling like maybe I'm losing my mind, maybe this is not worth fighting for, it feels so good to actually go back to
yeah.
class. I don't know if I shared this on the last episode that we did that we actually aired. Uh um I was talking to my counselor and just saying like I feel so grateful to have this opportunity that doesn't feel the same as these other students that just got to just walk in here, no issues, and they're just here. You know what I mean? Like struggle really does create a new level of gratification for everything that you have. So I know a lot of you right now might have something here or there, X, Y, or Z that you just take for granted
Hmm.
because you didn't have to struggle for it. And that's the thing. Like I understand the mental state that you're in of like, well, I didn't have to struggle for it. Why should I appreciate it? Like you can't really understand how to appreciate it unless you fought for it.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And then I feel like you're almost like more inclined to like take advantage of like resources available because you worked so hard to get in. So so I feel like one thing that's interesting is like a lot of the times like when you first go to college outside of high school, you like don't even know to like,
mm,
take advantage of like all the resources offered by a school. But like
yeah,
then since you put so much time and effort into just fighting the government to get in, I feel like
yeah.
you're gonna put in the work. You've already had to do so much research on like how to get in. I feel like you're gonna use all the resources available because
Oh no, I'm gonna do everything that I can do, bro. I even got my Max account. If you're a student, you get a free
oh, that's
Max
what I'm
account.
talking about.
Already have that. Been watching
We
movies. You know
had
what I
like
mean?
Xfinity for free at UMBC. I don't know if they still offer it, but
Let's
yeah, that was
go. I hope they do, bro. It's really important to offer entertainment to your
yeah,
students.
yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean,
I know
for
that sounds
film
crazy,
majors,
but it's
duh.
true.
But like, yeah, for every student. Yeah. Um,
Real talk.
man, I've been submitting applications for like graduate programs and like
We're doing everyone's doing school
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. It's coming along.
Mm.
it's coming along good. But it's a lot to take on, to tackle.
I really do question. I think this is how colleges thin the herd. When you think about what they ask students to do just to go to this school, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you can't expect, because at least luckily for us, we're a little bit older, so we know how we got to pick some stuff up on the fly. But I'm thinking about me in my younger life that just finished high school. They didn't prepare you to deal with any of that. It's a lot that they ask for and things that you don't even fully understand, like tax returns. What the hell is that?
There's a lot in the adult world that like you don't really have to worry about when you're like in high school, that like suddenly, you're just like, all right, let's go. Like we have like, oh my gosh,
Rusted
like I gotta
upon you,
figure this out. But
contracts.
hey, being thrown into difficult terrain a lot of the times builds character.
It does. It genuinely does. And I think, just again, going back to how without hardship, it's hard to not take things for granted. Um, I know at some point, once you have the adulting thing a little bit more like mastered, it'll feel like, yeah, like this is life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I earned this. I earned
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another point that I was gonna say about. Oh, we talked a little bit about how sometimes, like, sometimes it's, do I want to bring up that point?
Do it, do it, do it, do
All
it,
right, all
do
right,
it,
all
do
right.
it,
Well,
do
we were
it, do
talking
it.
about how sometimes it's sort of a luxury to be able um, to sort of like hyper analyze a lot of things. So we were kind of talking about how would you say that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you mean, where it's like it's critical thinking. I feel like there's a certain level of, and I think we talked about it even earlier in this very episode. There's a certain level of critical thinking that has to be unlocked either via higher education in a college, or you read a lot of books, or you have a lot of mentors and older people that can knowledge you up. But it really does feel like you unlock this other part of your perspective, and you can just see things more for what they are
Yeah.
instead of
Well,
just
we're saying like
living life.
sometimes like, you're running around so much like with all the adult stuff that you got to do, right? Or whatever, that you feel like you
Yeah.
don't have as much time for the things you used to do. Like in college, even, I feel like I had so much free time to do this, do that for like entertainment purposes. Like I felt like
Mm-hmm.
I could have a night where I just like streamed a whole season of something almost. You know what I'm saying? But then
Yeah.
nowadays, like even on the weekends, like when I because I'm like in the midst of just like doing all these applications and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing like anything, like if I'm not doing anything, like even on the weekends, bro, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm being lazy. I'm being so lazy. Like, and I feel like this like didn't used to kick in, but now that like it feels like there's like,
It's also an American that's an American
I know,
concept.
but it feels like there's like so much to
Uh
do where there didn't used to be, like because
yeah.
it's like the sort of like things you have to tackle in adulthood or something, right? And then like we said, like
Yeah.
figuring out how to fill this out or fill that out, and it's like such a learning curve that you surprisingly don't really get taught a lot about in high school or college unless your major's in something related to it. But
Finance or something
right,
like
right. But
that.
it's like then I'm like, oh, so I guess it was like a luxury to be able to like, stream a full season of something in one night back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like duh, of course it is. Like having free time at all is a luxury, kinda. Cause like sometimes people really gotta just work all the
Yeah.
time to, put food on the table, which that's just on, a lot of the times the government or whoever not paying enough money to certain people because and so they have to work constantly to be able to like feed their families, which is frustrating. But
It is really frustrating. It's weird. It's just as you become an adult and you pick up your own responsibilities and freedoms, your priorities just change. They just change. You didn't have to worry about what you were going to eat when you were 15, 16. You would just check the fridge, and if there's nothing in the fridge, maybe at this time you can drive. You can just drive down to McDonald's. Like it wasn't crazy. As you become an adult, though, and you gotta make your own money, and you gotta figure out what you're gonna eat every day, and then you gotta make sure the fridge is actually stocked. Even that starts to feel
Yeah.
different. It's not the same. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's a different world when you become an adult.
Yeah.
And given I don't know, I feel like everyone always has this perspective of like becoming an adult is so shitty because it's boring and it's monotonous and it's just like, all these responsibilities but no fun. I want to add that you do also get to have a lot more fun as an adult because there are just things that you didn't have access to that you can do now, like party.
There's still a lot of free time. Like you're able to arrange vacations a lot of the time for this or that. I think it is daunting.
Go places you weren't able to go before.
It's daunting, right? But like people, like I always wondered, like when I was younger, I'm like, what do people from like 23 to like 28 do? You know what I'm saying? Like I always wondered this because it's like an interesting period of adulthood, and I didn't really know like that many people that were like 23 and 28. I'm 23. You know what I'm saying? Almost 24, and like now I'm like, oh, this is what people do, and it's just like figuring your shit out, like trying to figure out the next step, like. It's kind of similar to like the end of high school when you're just like, oh my God, like what is next? And so it's kind of been like that out of college too. It's kind of just like, all right, like what's next? And I got a good path and I'm taking the right steps to get there. But man,
I see what you did there.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, it's exhausting. Should we talk about that or should we keep that low key?
I think we can talk about it, bro. Because I think us not talking about it makes it like less likely to come out.
All right, go ahead. You start.
Well, let's talk about it. All right. So some of you may know, some of you may not know. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast before, but me, Kevin, and Jacob, right? We have a collaborative rap album that we've been working on for years. I think there are songs on the album that was made 4 years ago, or it started being made 4 years ago. Like the beat was made and we recorded 2 years after that. And then we've been working on it here or there. You know what's funny? It's been so on and off because it requires all three of us, and all three of us have different schedules and are literally in 3 different parts of the country. Although I think now you and Jacob are on the same time zone.
Yeah, it started in Old Town, Maryland.
That's true. Started
on our Airbnb vacation.
You, me, and Jacob were on literally 3 different time zones doing different things, and we came together. What year was that? Was that 20?
Well,
I feel like it was during
you're saying
COVID,
we were
right?
in different time zones because Jacob was in Houston.
He was in Texas at the time.
Yeah, but
and I was still here in Los Angeles, and you were in Maryland.
One of the breaks home when you guys were in Maryland. We went to Old Town, Maryland, got an Airbnb, had a piano and some bowls. We had like for outside.
A couple of friends coming over. It was we took basically just like this trip. Because again, we were in like not just different time zones, but I was using that to exaggerate just the fact that we were in different spaces of our lives. And so we took a trip where we could all just kind of single in. We cut off the outside world. We were in the middle of the woods at this little cabin. And our only objective was wake up, make music, eat a little bit, maybe do a little bit of yoga, watch a show, and go to sleep.
It was nice. It was really nice.
That's what it was. It was super nice. We got a part 2 that at some point because that was really, really cool.
But that's where it all began, and that's where a lot of the stuff we're working on was created, and we've been
that's where we we made that trip just to focus on this project because we've been talking about it. We had beats in the background that we wanted to work
inspired by Dreamville.
We never had inspired by Dreamville, but we never got to dedicate time to it. On that trip, we dedicated time to work on the album. And yeah, it started there. We have a lot of great songs that were made there that I'm like, oh, I'm so mad because I feel like some of my best work is on this project and it's not out.
Dude, I
So
know, like,
nobody knows.
and some are much closer to completion than others. Like some are very close to completion. But the
Yeah.
ones that are, I'm very happy with. And
I
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So again, we've been working on this project on and off since the trip. Just because all of our schedules are different, we have to find different times to do
mhm.
everything. But um I recently got the surge of energy since I got back to school of like, all right, we're gonna get this done. Like I'm not playing no games anymore because every passing day that this music isn't out in the world, it hurts me a little bit.
I know.
So I hit up the group chat because we got the group chat. I'm like, all right, boys, like, do we want to get it done? Or do we want to get it done? And it sounded like everyone collectively was like, oh, we're gonna get this done. It's
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
So
dude, yeah,
that's my
yeah,
creative, other than because I'm also working on a film, but that's been my creative outlet when I'm not in class. I'll be mixing a song or recording a new verse or something. So music is coming soon. The Crabville Tape, along with a documentary to go along with the project.
yeah. And on that note,
So
honestly,
be
that
expecting it.
tease for the project, I feel like that's a good place to end the podcast for today. What do you think?
Yeah, we can wrap it there, man. I feel like we covered a lot of ground here. Also, we have a new setup. I like
I
this
think
setup
so.
way more
Yeah.
than our previous
Hopefully the
setups.
edit goes well in Premiere. We'll see, because
Yeah, because we had issues. We had issues with the
yeah,
last one.
but I mean just more so the editing, because it's going to be a long video and my little laptop might not have the power to. Well, I mean, worst case scenario, I'll do it on a different computer. But I think it should be okay. I think it should be okay. It might take a minute. But I think it'll be all right. Yeah.
We'll
I
see,
don't even.
man. I
Yeah.
have high hopes for it. I hope you guys enjoy this
Yes.
format. We know y'all don't really like Zoom. We don't like Zoom either. So here's something a little bit
Yeah.
closer to what we normally
The best
do.
of both worlds.
Uh, the best of both worlds. We're in our sets right now. Um, but yeah, man. It's been a pretty solid week. I'm excited for what the future
Me
has for
too. Me
us.
too. All right. Yeah. Till next time,
Yeah,
right?
let's wrap this
Yeah.
shit up. Till next time, it's been your host, King
And
Kudjo.
Croft Drippy, as always.
And we'll catch you on that next episode. 2 Chains.
Peace.